good evening. Welcome to Monday Musing 14, 15, something like that. Hi everyone, how are you all doing? There's loads of people on the chat already, which is great. I've been having a bit of a laugh with you guys. Thanks for liking the channel giveaway advert. Yeah, I was messing around with that. I was trying to do a video for the Facebook post, basically. That was the idea. So I think it will become a Facebook post, so hopefully people can like and share that. But anyway, I was just trying something new out, so thank you for being my guinea pigs on that. My voice is going a little bit now. I don't know whether that's been bedridden for a couple of days because of my back, or whether Sam spread his lurgy to me in some way. But I'll do my best. I think the show is going to be about an hour tonight, and the theme of tonight's show is Tyranids. So I want to have a look at some of the rules that are out, and of course now we've got the full reviews of the Codex out as well, so we've got a pretty good idea of what's going off in the Codex. My two main armies are Eldar and Tyranid, so this has been an expensive month for me, although blessing in disguise, at least with the Tyranid release. The only thing was the Codex and the cards, which they're not bad pricing really, I think. Considering the deck of cards you get now, I mean, they're generally at least, you know, quite a few cards in there, and the Codex has always got beautiful new artwork as well, or at least that's what we're seeing from the reviews as well. So I'm pretty excited to be getting it. And like I say, with the absence of new models, at least it hasn't been... Oh, am I on mute? Somebody tell me. No, I'm not on mute. Who's somebody saying I'm on mute? Can people hear me? Please, somebody tell me whether they can hear me. And that's because Carmen's saying and on mute, but I think he's doing it just to mess with me. I hope he's not messing with me. Let's see. Okay, well, somebody maybe in the chat can let me know whether you can actually hear me. Nobody's telling me as well, which that means you're all messing with my heads even more. Okay, well, we've got a few things to go through. I'm really hoping you can hear me. No, you are talking, lol. Thank you very much, Steve. The Death Guard was very expensive for me. 2 right up, boys. That was a huge release. That was a crazy release. I'm getting all the we can hear you fine now. Thank you very much. We've got about a 20-second delay between me asking questions and answers back, but I feel a little bit happier now. I was a little bit worried there. Let's have a quick drum up the chat, see who's in, and we'll see the scores on the doors. I don't even know if that's a saying. I may have made that up. Reaper28 Graham's in. Hey Reaper, how you doing? It's always good to see you on the chat. Stalker 40k was in, and for a while I think it was you guys, wasn't it? We had a bit of a chat. Ralph Hummel joined us quite early, then popped out and came back again. So hey Rob, Gabriel Priest is in there as well, which is cool. Who else? Oh, I'm going to try and do the scroll, but I'm just going to say my machine for some reason sounds like a Hoover tonight, and I don't know whether the fans have got dusted up or something, but it's just pumping out like a whole bunch of noise, so I hope that isn't disturbing you too much. Who else is in the chat then? So we had Ralph, Stalker, Robbie Cohen joined us early on. There's a lot of early chat on. I am getting tempted just to come online at like 8 o'clock and chat with you guys, because it's much easier than typing, and but I don't know how I can set the show up and stream at the same time. So maybe I'll do a pre-stream stream or something like that, and be setting one stream up while I do another. Who knows? I don't know what happens if you cross the streams as well. Who would know? Okay, who else have we got? Derpimus Maximus is in, and Derpimus Maximus and a whole bunch of people were talking about the bargain that you can get through Audible. So this is a subscription-based system, but if you subscribe, you can get the Black Library catalog for an absolute bargain price. So I am going to be checking that out later, because I do have a few of them on CD which I've transferred to my iTunes and stuff, but I have nowhere near the total collection, so I'm pretty excited to be checking that out. Although all my pennies are spent this month, I've been a naughty boy. I spent all my pennies, so I'm going to have to at least wait till the end of the month, so I hope that deal is still going at that point. Who else have we got? Jumping down the chat now. Let me see. Oh my goodness me. Steve Forrest. Steve joined us. Hey Steve, good to see you on the chat. And who else have we got in there? I think I've mentioned Derpamus. I'm pretty certain the Orc Boys. And then there was a little bit of chat about which Primarch was next, and I'm rooting for Russ, and I know that none of the room is agreeing with that. I'd like Magnus to come as well, but like a normal Magnus instead of the great big demon Magnus, and then there'd be a bunch of intrigue and people confused why there's two Magnuses. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Just messing with people's heads. What else have we got going off? So this is Orc Boys. Oh, Robbie Cohen joined us. That's cool. Who else? Homish, how you doing? Engine of War was in as well. This is his best Monday ever, and that's because, if I remember rightly, his science professor, turns out his science professor plays Warhammer 40k, which is a cool thing to find out, and it's a cool thing to do as well. Science professors are the best. Jack's science teachers, we had Jack's parents' evening. He's doing his A-level studies at the moment, and we had his first parents' evening at A-level. And his science teachers are insane. They're really good fun. We had Jack's parents' evening discussion with his physics teacher across the room, because he was like on his way to somewhere else and he hadn't managed to fit us in for a slot to discuss him. So he just shouted a bunch of comments across the room like, hey, he's a great kid, he still really winds me up. Can you just tell him not to come into school? Brilliant. And kind of carried on. And there was loads of parents just looking completely confused at why this sort of science teacher was just screaming across the room at us while we were just laughing our heads off. So no, they're the best, and of course if they pay 40k they're even more the best. What else have we got? Engine of War, bit of pardoning going off, and Orc Boys, and Ralph, and JD Joe. Message retracted. I'm not quite sure what happened there, JD, but hey, if you're in the chat still. Coleman joined us. Scott Beale is in there. Hey Scott, fantastic stuff. I'm so jealous of what you're doing on Genestealer Cult at the moment in the Wargame online community. Just check out his posts on what he's doing on Genestealer Cult. It's very inspiring, which is good because I want some inspiration. So I think we think alike, Mr. Beale, because I'm also in my bits box hacking and chopping and stuff. I've got something to show you later if I get some chance to do a hobby update tonight. And Gabriel Priest is back, and Coleman and Orc Boys, and Shift Andrew. Hey, Shift Andrew. And I think this is where the conversation's turned a little bit to lictors. So this was Stalker 40k saying, I don't think I need another army, but if I was to do something nid-wise, it would be lictor base. Always love them. What do you think of them, or any ideas on how you could base around them? Well, we'll have a look at the lictor unit anyway. I love them. I like the chronology of Tyranids, the idea that the attack goes through waves and phases, and I'm quite keen when I build my lists to kind of think of what phase of the invasion am I at, and intentionally try to kind of build a fluffy list around it. So I tend not to have some of the later units, like the big heavy duty monsters and stuff. With some of my earlier lists, I quite like it how you've got the infiltrators and those kind of things to create a narrative, which is why I'm so desperate to do a Tyranid Genestealer Cult campaign set of games for the channel. I'm pretty excited about that. I've been working on terrain. As you know, there's the city board, which we'll be starting to cover more now. We're getting onto that as soon as I get the Frostgrave board out of the way, and we will start moving through the Tyranid campaign. I've started to scribble out the narrative, but I would love for, maybe we'll do a planning session online and in one of the chats, and see if people have got ideas to help with the narrative and how we could bring different factions in and those kind of things. I'd love that. Ralph Hummel's got Gale Force winds outside. Luckily I haven't, which is why hopefully you can hear me, although I do have a Gale Force wind blowing out the back of my computer at the moment, so like I say, slightly worried. But at least you're still with me, which is good. Right. Okay, Scott Beale. Since Genestealers are in the NIDS decks, do you think there will be new reels for them in GSC or Genestealer Cults, or do you think they will remain the same? Well, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because they've already retconned the Lehman Russ tank into the index Genestealer Cult to make sure those are accessible. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the modified Genestealers appearing inside, at least if you like an FAQ of the index maybe, so you get some benefit from that. But who knows? Who knows? It's going to be a bit of a crazy one. because you've got a lot of keyword stuff going off that doesn't necessarily apply to the cult. Okay, Al Kirkham's in. Greetings all. Ferris is in. Hi guys, long time no see. Hey Ferris, how you doing? Ralph, Luke Bastianello. Hi, how you doing? I hope I haven't messed up your main name there. I'm sure I've tried to pronounce it before, but I had another go, and I tried a little bit harder this time, so hopefully that wasn't too bad. Lots of people can hear me. That's okay. Stop messing with my head. Cy Mini is in. Hey Cy, how you doing? Fell Hate is in as well. Militades, is it LIOM Wargamer? Somebody told me what that meant and I've forgotten it again. So hey, good to see you in the chat. Liam in. Hey Liam, Carnifex Armies. That's what it's all about. Furious George. Hi. Hi Furious. I love the Santa Claus. You get a light. And Barry Cleaver is in. Howdy. C. Mawson is in. Important note, it's cold outside. Also, hi Phil. Hey, it is cold outside. It was freezing outside for us today. The car was completely frozen up, and I had to go, although I was meant to be doctor's orders, meant to be remaining at home for a couple of days. I had to go into the office for a meeting first thing this morning, so I was very, very delicate balancing along the ice this morning to get to my car. Luckily, it got heated seats, so it acted like one giant hot water bottle for me. This is from Reaper. Emperor Phil has graced us with his presence. Praise Emperor Phil. Thank you. Oh, yes. While we're on that subject, thank you everybody for your well wishes. It's a short story. I had a backward step with my, no pun intended, with my back on Thursday night. Something happened in my sleep, and I couldn't walk on Friday. I could barely make it out of bed. I was kind of on my hands and knees. I couldn't walk straight, and it took me sort of 2.5 days to get walking again. I am walking. Unfortunately, I'm on all the painkillers and all the rest again. So, and I'm waiting for a call back from the consultant of whether this is going to impact my trip to the hospital on Tuesday. But hopefully, that's not tomorrow, by the way. It's a week on Tuesday. So sorry for the confusion as well. Some people wishing me well for this week. Hopefully, I'll be up and running soon. So anyway, there, back update done. Dr. Octopus saying hello. Great name, Richard Hudson. What's the bargain? But what's the bargain? A bargain? Maybe you was more talking, caught me talking about the Audibles deal on the audiobooks. Carl M. Spent all my pennies being there, lol. Simony, on Fate 212, there are rumours of Russ coming in the new year. Holy homie, greybeards, that's fantastic. Neil Malden is in there, home of the greybeards. And one Spaz 11. Hi, you made it. How you doing, man? What else have we got? I've just scrolled past everything again and messed up. So let me see if I can find my place. Gonk is in. Hey Gonk, it's been too long. It's cool to have you there. That's cool. Right, Akari is in as well. Hey Akaria, how you doing, man? It's good to speak to you again. Oh, good to see you in the chat, doing all of your wonderful chat tasks as well. And we're catching up soon, aren't we, as well? We're gonna have a Phil and Akaria show. If we can time it right, I might do a live show with Akaria here, and he can be live manning the chat as well. That's quite cool. We could have a keyboard cam so we can see him typing away. Simon is saying worst excuse from a bedroom gymnastics injury. There was no gymnastics taking place. If anything, at best, a forward roll. Richard Hudson's joining us. It just seems like Phil could never avoid injury. I'm afraid this back problem is not going away, but hopefully the surgeons can sort me out, which will be good. Vicious is in. Hey Vicious, how you doing? And thank you very much for your donation in the last chat as well. That was much appreciated. So what else have we got? Engine of War. He's just like a friend of mine, got injured so often we wanted to call him Fire Hazard. Well, this is one injury recurring. Can I just state that this is not, I'm not normally the kind of guy that has multiple injuries. That's not me, but this is not a Valrak raid from Vicious. That's a shame. But it's good for you to join us. I was watching Valrak's show tonight. I tried to do a donation about 8 times to fix his squeaky chair. And it just kept failing on me. So I'm going to go back on my proper browser and donate to his channel because I was really chuckling on his channel and it made me laugh a lot. So Frost and Fist is joining us as well. Hey there. So, right. take care of that back. I am doing. Thank you very much. So, where are we at? Well, I wanted to have a look really at a couple of things around the Tyranid Codex tonight. We are at 15 minutes past. So, what I think to do is we'll spend about 30 minutes on this, maybe if I try my best. And so while I'm chatting for a bit and while I've got something to show you, if anybody has any points, comments, or something they want to share with everyone on what they've picked up on the Tyranid information so far, then please do the @WargamerOnline. If not, just send me any old Q&A as well, and we can pick up on those things. These are never, my stuff is never super in depth. I've had some thoughts around some of the more fundamental army rules, really, in terms of the change it makes to really, I think, how I deploy and the unit mix-up I'll make. I'm not going to go too much into each individual unit. There's a lot of content on the old internet at the moment about those. I haven't got the codex in hand yet. I mean, I've gone through those, but essentially I've kind of been repeating, I think, what other people have had to say, so kind of didn't seem a lot of point. I'm pretty excited that there hasn't been this fundamental point shift. I'm pretty excited that the move towards characters for some of the units, like the Zone Thrope, is pretty exciting. I'm happy to see things like the Red Terror are still around because they've allowed for that character rather that, even though it doesn't, it does have a model, doesn't it? If I remember rightly, is the Red Terror got a fine cast model, hasn't it? Although I've made my own conversion of the Red Terror, which was on the thumbnail of this video, so check that out, and I think it's somewhere on my Tyranid showcase as well. Overall, I'm just excited that I'm going to be putting the NIDs back on the table again. That they've been pretty strong already in 8th, but to see them play, I think, in a different way is going to be really interesting. And I had this sense when the Eldar Codex came out. I was saying to Jack as we had our first test game, which was Eldar versus Astra Militarum, and I said they kind of, if you wanted to, you could try and play them like how they used to play, but the reality is they play completely differently. They changed the battle focus, and the fact that you can't shoot then run meant some of those retreat tactics are different. And then some of the bonuses, like for instance, I was playing Beal Tan, so that changed my makeup of heavy weapons. So although that's the wrong term, I was taking shuriken cannons because I'm gaining from the one re-rollable, which meant suddenly I went from an army that kind of focused to punch hard. I was moving to an army that focused less hard on the punch, but so many shots. So it was kind of fun to play them in a very different way. I've got a feeling that this is what the Tyranid decks is going to be like. We're going to see a very different style of play for Tyranids. And I wanted to have a look at an example of that really with some of the stuff that came out in one of the very first community posts. So let's just have a quick catch up with the chat before I jump into that. So we've got Richard Hudson, DJ the Lucky One. Hey DJ the Lucky One, good to see you. And Coyote. Greetings everyone, long time no see. Well, welcome to the chat. It's good to have you on board as well. That's good. I think I've got like 55 people watching at the moment. I'm blown away. Thank you very much everybody for joining. I know that everybody can leave comments and stuff, but thank you very much. Don't forget to line up some questions for me. That would be super cool. Right, the first thing I wanted to do, now this is the new technology bit I was hinting around. Oh, dear me, everybody's on about how I've injured myself. Seriously, all I did was spasm in my sleep or something like that, and that's probably going to start the chat going off even worse, isn't it? So, and no, I wasn't beating a demon prince with its own arm, although I kind of do. Thank you very much for that, because I really like I really like the idea of that. Scott Beale at Wargamer Online. Love the ability to completely customize your force for NIDs. Absolutely. Liam, would I consider a Harridan? Absolutely. And I said no previously because I wasn't a big fan of the wings, and then recently I got close to one, and I actually think it's quite a nice model. So yes, I would consider one of those, but it's way down in the shopping list, and the list that it's got no pennies to attach to it. Let's get into this. So here we go. New technology. Is this going to work? There you go. One of the things I wanted to talk about then, this is, I'm so expecting this to fail, but we'll do it. I wanted to talk about the impact of some of the fundamental rules around synapse, and Shadow of the Warp, etc., and the fact that some of the ranges have fundamentally shifted, and what impact that would have for the game. So, first one I wanted to have a look at. Wow, this appears to be working. I hope you guys can see this. So the first one is Shadow in the Warp. So this has always been for something for me. It always felt, since 7th edition, really understated. It didn't really pack the punch I thought Shadow in the Warp should, when you kind of read the kind of fluff, when you go into the stories, the idea of psychers poking their own eyes out and stuff because this horrible hive mind presence is coming towards them. And I'm not saying they've really addressed it this time either, but they have at least, I think, improved the effective range of it, and also additionally as well. Oh my goodness, Al Ancient's just donated £100. I hope this helps, guys. Oh, Al, I'm blown away. Thank you very much, man. I know it sounds daft. I start every show not really expecting donations. So it always catches me by surprise. It always blows me out, and it doesn't matter the size of the donation. It still amazes me that you guys out there are willing to support us the way you do. So thank you very much, Al. That's really appreciated. So that's great. Thank you. I'll move on with the show though, because you are, of course, wanting me to at least do a show. But nice one, mate. Thank you. Okay. Shadow in the Warp. So the idea of it being 18 inches, and now what it is a subtract 1 from psychic tests, which at first I didn't think was that big a deal. And then you actually think it's a D6 system, and it's 2D6 for most psychic tests. And subtracting 1 actually, because a lot of the psychic tests are done more or less around on or just below the average roll of 2D6. So average roll of 2D6 is a 7. You will see a lot of psychic powers that sit around the 7, 6, and 5 mark. So taking 1 off is significant, really, particularly when you start to look at how that could impact on the game in terms of whether it's a possibility. This is the radius. This is a 6x4 table I'm showing here, and obviously what we've got illustrated is the deployment zones. So if you were to place something that had Shadow in the Warp rule right on the front of the deployment zone, center of the table, okay, it's not going to impact first turn, not unless they've got deep striking units, but you get an idea of the size of that impact. You're going well over the center board. You've only got to advance 12 inches, which a lot of Tyranids are pretty fast moving, or at the very least have the advance, and there's a bunch of bonuses that enable you to move forward. And if you've got 3 things emitting Shadow in the Warp, for want of a better word, you can see how you can kind of dominate that center field in terms of helping to shut psychers down. It's not cumulative, I have to remember that. So it doesn't matter how many Shadows of the Warp people are being impacted by, but you can see how that radius really does easy make it to, and to overlapping radiuses, which means should something be taken out, you've still got quite a bit of the table covered. The next thing I wanted to look at was synapse, and this is cumulative, guys, because obviously what you start to see is some of this adding up. So some Tyranids serving as a synaptic conduit. I love this, by the way. I love the idea that the hive mind is this huge sort of huge brain out there, combined hive brain out there in the ether, sending its instructions down through synapse nodes out to the fleet as it attacks. I've always liked this. I've always liked this kind of direct leadership, if you like, bubble that takes place with Tyranids. It's always been a fun part of it. So this is interesting, though. What you find with Synapse now is essentially this is an automatically pass morale if they're within 12 inch of any friendly unit with this ability. So 12 inch, it's one of the smaller radiuses, it's one of the smaller bubbles. But even so, auto-passing morale, as we know, with the way that morale phase has changed, and that's one way of taking care of the hordes, is to do a great deal of damage against the unit. If you have a unit of 20 or 30 or 40 gaunts and you can take 12 off in a turn, you know there's a whole lot more going if they're going to have to take a leadership test. And that was the beauty of that. This just switches it off, really. And even at the 12-inch radius, you'll see that synapse. It's easy to kind of dominate the board. It's easy to provide you know, a great deal of synapses. 3 units positioned carefully, pretty much going to cover the board. Now obviously this doesn't take into account terrain and those kind of things, but I just wanted to illustrate what these bubbles look like, because I think if you're playing against a NID player and or that NID player is thinking through the synapse and the shadow and the warp and those kind of things, I think to a degree it might help you second guess the impact of what you're doing. If you can shut down one of these synapse nodes, then you can make those units run, you can deal some damage. And I think that will really help with target prioritization in shooting. You know, if you've got something providing synapse to a unit, you know, over here, then the first things you're going to do is take out those 2 synapse units and then target the unit that, you know, which may have been your primary target to start with. You know, take out the synapse, then target the unit, and then you know, cause enough damage for morale to have an impact. But it's interesting to see, isn't it, that even with those 12-inch bubbles, because it's the unit that has to be within the distance, you can see that, you know, that unit is about 8 inches across and 6 inches deep, so it's not even a big scattering of Tyranids. You can cover a lot more area. I mean, I've kind of done that to account for some of the monstrous creatures and those kind of things. But as you can see, I'm pushing into the deployment zone just by being halfway with a synapse creature there. I mean, the good news is literally those units can kind of charge directly into enemy deployment zone and still have that synapse coverage from units that are only on the halfway mark on the board. I mean, if you were to take this into a 4v6 game, so if you're playing the alternative deployment, you know, okay, you've got to a degree. Well, you haven't got further to war, but you've got a little bit further to war. But you could see how easy it would be to cover. You know, certainly if you're up against Tyranids, or if you're playing Tyranids one way or another, a wide front is going to be your issue. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying, as a Tyranid player, you're trying to avoid a wide front, and as someone defending from Tyranids, you want to push them as wide as possible, spread out their synapse, take them out, and then take the units out, and let the morale phase do its work. Okay, but that was only 3 synapse units. You introduce a 4th, and you've got quite a deal of overlapping synapse. You know, you're not having to work that hard to cover the center field with synapse. Next one I wanted to have a look at then was instinctive behavior. So this is an interesting one for me. Right now, I can't see how instinctive behavior is going to have a significant impact on the game. For either players, for either side of the battle, and I'll explain in a little bit. First and foremost, it's basically, unless a unit with this ability is within 24 inch of any friendly unit, a synapse unit, you must subtract 1 to hit rolls. When shooting any target other than the nearest visible enemy, you must also subtract 2 from its charge roll if it declares a charge against any other unit than the nearest enemy. And I think that's an important point. Multiple charges, which Tyranids are brilliant at because of the big unit size. It's really good to tie up multiple units and to lock them down and to make those units retreat and not fire and those kind of things. So, you know, when you're playing Tyranids, when you're playing Horde, the multiple charges are really good. If you've got instinctive behavior kicking in, then you're going to have to work out which one's the closest and only charge that one. If you go for the multiple unit, then the entire charge is going to be subject to the -2. And the last thing you want is a reduction of charge range with Tyranids. You want to be closing the gap as fast as possible. So I think I think it's you know, interesting if it was workable. The reason I don't think it's particularly workable is if we look at what a 24-inch bubble looks like for instinctive behavior against synapse. There's my synapse creature, front line of the deployment zone, center battlefield, and you can just see how much cover I've got already on instinctive behavior. I mean, how's that going to work? You know, I advance forward 12 inches, have those 3 synapse creatures in I originally talked about. and you can pretty much see the table is pretty safe. Pretty safe for any kind of instinctive behavior not to have an impact on the game. And I say pretty safe because you can see the overlap there as well. So I've got coverage from multiple units. You know, bring in that 4th synapse creature like I mentioned, and that's not hard, you know, warriors and all the rest. So bring in that 4th synapse unit and you will see the level of overlap you've got in instinctive behavior. And this is what I was saying, I can't see how it's going to have a big impact in the game unless you're in the later stages of the game where you're really shutting down you know, the synapse models, if you've managed to shut them down, and then later in the game you're making life difficult on what's left of the NIDs. But to be honest, if you've shut down the synapse, NIDs are pretty much in trouble anyway, because as I talked earlier, what you're starting to lose then is the morale phase. So really interesting. Let's just go back to that synapse position though. What does that mean? I mean, it does mean I can still deep strike a unit right on the edge of the enemy deployment zone and still be okay for instinctive behavior. Now remember, I'm only impacted for shooting. This is -1 to hit in shooting and -2 on the charge. So the idea of coming in there 9 inches away from an enemy unit maybe, okay, I've got a 9-inch charge, but there's a few things we can do about that within Tyranids. And then I'm slamming in, I'm leaving the instinctive behavior, but it doesn't matter by then, I'm in combat. So you can see how even sat on the backfield, how much coverage I could have, you know, bring in the 3 again. And I've pretty much got the entire center field covered. You got to work really hard to to benefit from instinctive behavior if you're against the Tyranids. Only takes a small advance. And I've got units with instinctive behavior shut down, so they're fine to charge, they're fine to operate completely within your deployment zone. And additionally, you know, I've got a unit there on the edge of the deployment zone that's auto passing morale. So I think you can see how effective that could be. And, you know, okay, that was a bit of a run across the table, but it was a 12-inch run across the table. You know, okay, you're probably not going to do that, but you can see how it's quickly enough to redeploy a synapse unit just to give me coverage over on that right-hand flank. So, yeah, can't see how it's going to have a massive impact in the game. It's a hell of a challenge if you're up against NIDs to benefit from that. But interesting stuff nevertheless. I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's it for those rules. There you go. So let's get back to this. So let's catch up on the chat. I hope you enjoyed the graphics. I thought I'd have some fun with it. It's sometimes easier to illustrate stuff like that. And now I've got the technology working. Expect loads more because it's so exciting. Including how to clean your airbrush with graphical illustrations maybe. Okay, let's have a look at what the chat is saying. Here we go. Well, a few people thanking Al for his donation. Absolutely, Al. Unbelievable. Thank you very much. You're an incredibly generous person, and you know that we're pumping all of it back into the channel as well. So thank you very much. It's going to make a big difference to us. Right, okay, Richard Hudson, lots of people thanking Al, and I'm not surprised. Right, Ralph says he's not saying much, he's working on his highlights. I assume that you know, I was just going to say, I assume that means highlighting your models and not your hair. And then I scrolled down and saw the alt boys saying, you doing your hair. So either way, Ralph, that's cool. Oh, I need to speak to you as well. Are you around Annecy just before the new year as well? Because we need to talk dates maybe. Right, okay, what have we got? Russell Higgins, Phil in the bubble of power on the week that the Tyranid Codex released. Is anyone surprised? No, you shouldn't be surprised. I love my Tyranids. I've always said that Eldar are my army first and foremost, and I have to say I play Eldar and I do love my Eldar army without a doubt. But Eldar gets such a rep in the game in terms of it being overpowered and all the rest. And every time you field Eldar, you have to face the inevitable, you know, cheese / salty comments and all the rest. I've rarely put Eldar on the table without having to kind of deal with that, and it doesn't bother me massively. I always build the lists, you know, fluffy. I always try to have fun with them. You know, I think the list I took to Warhammer TV was designed around making the game last 5 turns. You know, I knew Sam had got an elite army, and I'm sure if I'd, you know, completely spammed jet bikes, he'd have had a horrendous time. I might not have killed him, but I certainly would have avoided combat for a hell of a lot longer. I've never, you know, played that way, but unfortunately they've got a reputation, haven't they? And of course the new codex, I think, is looking at the Eldar Facebook group, which is a real shame because they had a bunch of haters kind of hit the Facebook group, and they've had to deal with that as well and shut it down. So Tyranids have always been the underdog. I quite like the idea that I've got 2 armies, you know, one as being like the top tier and the other one's being the underdogs. And we used to, myself and Jag, create a lot of house rules just to make Tyranids a little bit more competitive, like Endless Swarm. So on a 4-up, any unit comes back. I don't think that's going to be necessary anymore. I hope they don't develop a reputation for being absolutely horrendous, but, you know, it's going to be fun. I'm so excited to be playing them. Right, okay then. A lot of stuff about Ralph's hair. Hit the like button or subscribe from Akaria. Thank you very much. Russell Higgins. Oh, I've just read that one. Sorry, I should have mentioned. Right. Resistance is futile. Then why resist the Imperium? Oh, dear me. It's Loyalist versus Xenos versus Traitor going off in the chat now. Andreas has joined us. Hey everyone. Hey, how you doing? Al Kirkham saying nice graphics, bud. Thank you very much. Like I say, I expect more. Surreal's joined us. Figures I think of the name of Pink's live show when he's not here of Profanity with Pink. Hashtag profanity with Pink would be brilliant. Pink does that. I mean, Sam said he's a potty mouth. He's a little bit of a potty mouth, and I think the few videos we've got where there's a bit of swearing on it, I think it's pretty much Pink every time. But it's always in about the first 5 seconds, and then he doesn't for the rest of the show. It's like as if he has a delayed switch. You press the profanity off switch. And it's one of those, it's like those taps in public urinals where you press the button and it flows for a bit and then slowly stops. I think that happens with his profanity. Okay, I don't know why I went there. So, not mine, but was small little golden dude's hair. So there you go. That's little models, and that's what counts. Coleman avoiding Y fronts. Chuckle. Don't know. I'm not quite sure what's going up there. Fuzzy Wuzzy 1203. Phil, thinking of starting a shooty monster heavy Nid army. Do you think it could be possible? Thinking of lots of Daka, Tyrannofex, Exocrine, Hive Guard. I think it's absolutely possible. You know, they don't forget the Carnies. The Carnifex options now, in terms of every option is available to them, and that's going to be interesting stuff. I think you can do. I mean, it's interesting because Eldar is such a gunline army to a degree. I mean, they're not really that great in combat. Combat's like a last resort for them. And I know, okay, pardon the Wraith lists, of course, you can slam the Wraiths in there, but the reality is Eldar is, you know, amongst the shooters. I've always kind of avoided being too shooty with my Nids. I see them as my horde. I see them flooding over the barricades and ripping everyone to pieces. So that's how I play them. But it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible with what we're seeing from the new deck. And we'll jump in a little bit into that as well. Try Exterminatus. Well, that is one way of dealing with Tyranids, but you only get the ones on the planet. The rest are still coming at you from the hive mind. So look out. Derpimus Maximus, to be honest, I think by the time instinctive behavior comes in, you'll already be losing. Exactly, that was the point I was saying. It feels like it's a way of mopping up the Tyranids, not a way of destabilizing the list. Is it the end of the world? It feels like they've done 2 things and they could have done 1. Instinctive behavior was simplified, which it desperately needed to be because it was always complex and it was horrible, and I never remembered it. And when I did remember it, I used the wrong one, and then you spend 10 minutes looking up the chart because you'd hardly ever used it. I used to work really hard to avoid it, so it didn't happen very often, and then when it happened, I'd forgotten what the rules were, so it was really frustrating. So they've simplified the rule, which is brilliant, but then at the same time, they've almost made it like it's never going to come into play. But Who knows? Who knows? You know, if you got a bunch of Vindicares at the back of the table sniping out the synapse, maybe you could bring it in earlier in the game, but yeah. Okay. Roa, evening all. Evening, Roa. How you doing? Have you considered a gunline army fill? This is from Liam. Have I considered? Well, I mean, the good news is all of my Carnifexes are magnetized. All of my Tyrant Guard and my Hive Guard are magnetized, I think. Yes, they are. And I've certainly got a few Fexes, Tyrannofexes, and what else have I got? Well, I've got over 100 of the little Hormagaunts as well, so they're quite shooty too. Yeah, I've got enough, hopefully, within the army to actually try a few gunline now, and maybe that's going to be an interesting thing to do, is a few test battle reports when these go out. Just while I'm online, there's two things I need to mention. One is the forum. People have started to comment on the forum, which is absolutely lovely. But it wasn't quite live yet, and I need to do some maintenance to it. I am waiting for a response back from the vendors of the technology. We want the forum to be really easy to use, and that's about being able to post images and those kind of things, because the vast majority of people want to use that. It may mean I have to uninstall and install a new version of the forum that they're going to send to me, apparently. The problem is we might lose some data, so please, if people are posting, please be aware. I appreciate you helping us sort of test it. But at the same time, some of that data may be lost, but we're going to try and do it. And while I'm on the subject of the forum, one of the things I've been looking at is what are people used to who use forums. So please, if you can send me a comment either at the bottom of the video later. The technology we've seen for forums, most of them actually work around the idea of linking to an external hosted image, and that is done for to make it easier in terms of hosting, so you don't have to host everybody's images, etc. I'm not really asking which is preferable, because I think I know which is preferable. It'd be preferable if we could actually get the whole image upload as part of the forum functionality, but we are having problems with the vendor of the technology versus the security that we need to be in place because of all the payment gateways. So if people had to put outside links, external links in their forum, is that the kind of thing you're used to anyway? Do you mind it when you're using a forum? Is forums more about text than image for you? So please share some of your thoughts on this. And as far as administrators for the forum, I can see Reaper offering you are still up for an admin. That's absolutely cool. We've got a list of the people who we're going to need you, because within a few days people were just banging in a few comments and stuff like that, and it's like, we are definitely going to need moderators and administrators. But before I go live, I really need to resolve this tech issue, and obviously I'm reliant on a third party to deal with it. We've done everything they said that would fix it, and it's not fixed it, so they're having a look at their code now to see if they can fix it. So that's the first one. That's around forums. The second one I've completely forgot, so let's go to the chat and see what's going on. Writer Sophie Stevens says, hi all, finally made it to another stream, busy painting around 100 clan rats currently, so can't type much. My goodness me, 100 clan rats. I hope you're not edge highlighting every single one of those. C. Mawson, only 2 armies fill lightweight. Let's hold on a second, I'm jumping up a bit. Scott Beale, wouldn't it be cool if you had a way to project those radius markers onto the table during the game in real time? It would be amazing. Yeah, I think we might see some one day if we get there. I certainly know an augmented reality coder developer team. It would be cool to be able to put little markers on top of our models and have augmented reality going off with the maybe the Mac cam or something. Who knows? Right, okay then. C. Mawson, settling into paint steampunk dwarves, finished the Thunderbolt fighter earlier, posted photos to the WGA. It's amazing, that, by the way, absolutely amazing, and I love what you've done with the base. Richard Hudson says NIDS equals annoying, bless you. C. Mawson also saying only 2 armies feel lightweight. Well, yeah, I have got a little bit more than 2 armies, but they're my 2 complete forces. In other words, I consider it complete when I can field more than 3,000 points of painted model. I think Eldar up to about 6. No, it's not actually. It's about 5,000 points of painted, and the Tyranids are up to 3,500. And bear in mind that my Gene Stealer cult are just round the corner, so that will be my third painted army. I also have, and dare I say it, my only Marine army, which is Dark Angels, but it's not finished. And it was built for a game that never happened, or for a tournament that never happened. So they remain unfinished and unloved. I'm thinking of resurrecting them if the Codex comes out. When the Codex comes out, should I say, because it's already been announced, hasn't it? Okay. Robbie Cohen, shame they shut comments down. It's a bad move. Comments down. Shut comments down on what, Robbie? You'll have to let me know what that is. Have we shut comments down on something by accident, or have we missed something? So, Robbie Cohen, if you can just let me know what the comments issue is, and whether it's anything to do with us or whether that's a comment about something else. Reaper says, what about a mode where someone has their army, e.g. Space Marine, and play against a NID player, but the NID player has infinite squad, so when they die, they come on in the table edge? Well, that's very much like an Astra Militarum game I played against Jack, where he formed an obscene gun wall with every single model he got, flyers and everything, and I met him point for point. But then we played a rule which was a bend of the endless swarm rule. So every unit I lost was a 4-up return. I get the whole they just keep coming, which isn't a bad idea actually, because then you turn the game into, if you survive to, you design a scenario around evacuation, and these are like the guys at Dunkirk or whatever. These are the final line of defense while the city has been evacuated, and they need to survive 7 turns. And if they can hold the NIDs from crossing the line for 7 turns or getting off the back of the table for 7 turns, then the evacuation is successful. But I love that idea that your army is there to die. It's quite thematic, isn't it? If you're holding NIDs off while civilians are being evacuated, and probably high-ranking officials and everybody else, while the Imperial Guardsman is just there to buy time for everybody else. I love that idea. So that would be a great game to do, and maybe will already be one of the scenarios in the campaign that I'm hoping to do. So thank you for that, Reaper. Oh, well, there we go. Sorry, I'll read your second comment. And the end happens when the non-NID player is killed to the last man, then swap armies and do again, and whoever kills more NIDs wins. That's a good idea. I really like that too. So everybody gets to feel that. I think, like I say, if you did it where you survive 7 turns, if they're not all dead by 7 turns, then you've won anyway. It would be an interesting one, I suppose. Right. What else have we got? Lol said just before you posted. I'm not quite sorry. There we go. Right, Kent Galpin of the Paint Shack. That's a full title. I like that. Eldar are just great to paint. Really them. And really like them. I think. And hi everyone. Hi Kent, how are you doing? Yes, they are. They're great fun to paint, and I love them. Right. Here we go. What else have we got? Furious George has got a question. Are you going to put then the chat jumped massively. Are you going to put an off-topic board in the forum for people who want to chat non-gaming, video games, and photoshops and pictures? Yes, why not? Absolutely, why not? I don't even think I'm going to be an administrator of the forum at this rate. We've got so many volunteers, so maybe it's down to them. He said I will in the muse. Well, there you go. I've said it again then. You haven't found the forum yet because it's still not official. So please just hold off while I sort this tech out. It just gets me more stressed anyway. Right. I've never used a forum. Have never used a forum. Best way to use it, ? Well, yeah, if you haven't, then brilliant. Ask around, but okay, here we go. Derpimus Maximus says, if you go to that, oh, here we go. He's given the secret away. Thank you very much. I look forward to cleaning out all of your data while I do the update. Imagine your tech issue was a 13-year-old PC covered in so much dust that it wouldn't power up. That's what it feels like right now, to be honest. It's so frustrating when it's not our technology that's failing, if you like. But as ever with these things, when you stitch a bunch of technology together, it's the compatibility of that technology is a pain. Bernard Miller says, Reaper, I'm late, but hello, Phil. And if Sam's there, hi too. I've not seen Sam on the chat, actually. I'm not sure. I know that Call of Duty is out, isn't he? So I think he's doing his day job, which is Wargamer Online. And then I think in the evenings he's spending a bit of a time Call of Dutying, if that's the right term for it. Okay, Dipimus Maximus, a lot of forums I've used tend to favour third-party image owner, in part because people have existing accounts with them, and in part because having it hosted elsewhere is cheaper. That's exactly my issue. I'm worried that we're going to get lots of images and it impact on it. So if that's the case and there are people using it, maybe we can launch the forum sooner rather than later, and I'll do some investigation tomorrow. Elstonation is in there. Hi. How is Phil's back this evening? It's not good, but it's okay. I'm rocking a little bit. I'm trying not to rock. I've got a hot water bottle behind me, which is making me a little bit hot as well. So we're all right. Sacred oils, all that's trying to fix it. Look at Reddit, best forum on the internet. Well, I'll do that, and we'll see how that's set up. I mean, to be honest, like I say, we had found something that handled images beautifully and enabled people to create slideshows and all sorts of fun, but it looks like it's going to be a bit of a pain to make it work. Thordalim is saying, you mean the traitors of the first, Phil? Oh, come on. Are they traitors? Yes, they are. We all know they're traitors. Right to Sophie Seasons now. I'm not edge highlighting them all, just basing a wash. So many little details, though. I know. Even that takes time, doesn't it? Basing all the little details, but worth it. I'm working through the vehicles now of my Gene Stealer cult. And in fact, actually, maybe if we look at Roa saying for the lion, oh no, not you, Games Workshop on Facebook. Okay, thank you. That's okay, Robbie. Thanks for answering that. That's probably a good point to maybe cut to some of the stuff I've been working on. First and foremost, with Elstonation in the chat, I just want to I've not had chance to do oh, look at the dog hairs. I've not had chance to do have I gone completely off my camera? There you go. Let's twist this. How's that? I can't see the chat now. So I've not had a chance to do the showcase or even base the Gene Stealer cult that Elstonation's done for me. But I just wanted to remind everybody, this was, is that going to fit on? Oh, I've got really bad camera angle. So this is my Gene Stealer Patriarch. This was the colour scheme, and this was pretty much the only image that Elstonation had to work to, other than some sort of screenshots and rubbishy graphics and stuff I sent to him saying, oh, I'd really like my Gene Stealer cult to look like this. That was the voice I put on as well. And here's my little Gene Stealers, and I really like the kind of blue and what someone told me is purple, because bear in mind I'm purple blue colorblind, so it's just blue and pink to me. So these were my Gene Stealers. This is what I was hoping for, and I was hoping that Elstonation could somehow come up with a scheme, if you like, that was in line with the lighter blue that I had gone with. And dun dun dun, this is what he did. So I'm going to zoom in a bit so you guys can see it. I have to wait for the delay. So this is just one of the models that Elstonation has done for me, and you can see how beautiful they are. And look at the match as well. I mean, bear in mind he only had photos to work to. I'm absolutely blown away by the match on these, and they just look so nice next to each other. I'm going to try and get that kind of face onto the camera. They are now. I've moved off the camera. There's a 2-second delay, which makes all of this interesting to do. But you can just see how fantastic that looks. And I'm just going to have a look at some of the stuff. So basically, let's see if we can get him on camera. So he's not based yet. I'm going to be basing all of my army in one go for consistency. So Elstonation, poor Elstonation had to work with models on pegs, which is a real pain sometimes. So again, I absolutely appreciate the effort you went to. Let's just have a look at some of these. Look, this is the little banner guy. He's just an absolute cutie. It's just done stunning work. I'm absolutely blown away. Elstonation, though, Paul, what I do need from you is the Idiot's Guide to Painting Your Gene Stealer cult, please, because I still have my HQ to do. And, for instance, I was so pleased with what you've done. I've gone back to the crews of my Sentinels and hacked them apart and inserted spare Gene Stealer bodies into... This was quite funny. So the arms and the legs, all I did was actually take my little saw and cut down the shoulders, and then I cut across the waist and just moved the body section out and then slipped in the little Gene Stealer stuff, because I really wanted to kind of, I want these guys to match this now, so I can give them the orange suit and those kind of things. I'm even thinking of finding some of those or blue green stuff in some of the knee pads onto them as well, so I can kind of get away with them looking similar. So yeah, please send me the idiot's guide to doing this so I can get on with my HQ and stuff. But needless to say, what a fabulous job is done. I'm so blown away by this. And again, every time I take one of these and put them next to the models I've done, they just tie in so well. They're just so well color matched, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and I love this guy with a shotgun. He's a little conversion. So all I did was swap out the weapons. I've got a unit of 20 with shotguns and a unit of 20 with auto guns. And I was saying to Paul at the time, I kind of like the shotguns because that feels a little bit informal. Like an auto gun's a bit military almost. I do like these guys have just picked up their shotgun. And here's my favourite. Here's my absolute favourite. So this was because I needed to make up a unit of 6 of these, and I was missing a set of legs. So I call him Peekaboo. He's got some other names developed on the channel. So if you're in the comment, feel free to name him. But he's one of my favourite. And of course, you know, Paul, Elster Nation being Elster Nation, put all the dedicated love and time into our Peekaboo fellow, as he did everybody else. So I am just blown away by these. I'm so pleased with these, and I can't wait to get them based, and I can't wait to play my first game. So the other thing I've been working on is I wanted to include a Lehman Russ. But I want the Lehman Russ, and Scott Beale, your ears are going to itch any minute now, because I wanted the Lehman Russ to look a little bit more industrial. I wanted it to look like some kind of weird drilling machine that just happened to be based on the Lehman Russ chassis, and therefore the Gene Stealer cult have gone, yeah, that's basically a Lehman Russ, so if we strap a bunch of weapons to it and all the rest, then we will have it. So the first thing I've done is I've hollowed out the back. So I've made this central compartment, although there will be room for a driver. In my mind, the engine has been moved forward to directly underneath the turret, so there's almost no room except for access through the sides maybe, or access through the front. I've not quite worked out, or access through the turret itself maybe. Exhaust pipes have been moved to the side, you know, because you've got this engine bay, and I might bridge that pipe across there so you can kind of see it coming out of the engine bay. I think I'll just get some plastic piping in there, and then I'm just going to build up the back, and I'm going to put the little control mechanisms. And the idea is you've got Gene Stealery dudes kind of stood around the back operating it as it drives forward. And then this is the doozy. I've worked on expanding this out, so as you can see, there's an extra set of wheels in there. There's that's normally the center point, but I wanted it wider because I wanted it to meet with the width. Is that on the there you go. I wanted it to match the width of the Lehman Russ and to look like this absolutely beastie drilling machine. And then this is the next thing, because I'd hacked up one of those to make 2. I had 2 halves left, and my intention with that is to put on the sponsons, and also, if I can make this work now, get these underneath there like that. So we're going to have these. The overall thing is difficult to do. I should have got a bunch of blue tack, but you will get the idea. Does that work? So I think you'll get an idea of what's going off. So you've got this huge kind of drilling, incineratey clearing machine for driving through and widening tunnels maybe. Who knows what it does. And on the turret is going to be even more reinforced with kind of drilling equipment either side of the barrel or something like that, which I haven't decided yet, but it's all very exciting. I don't always work with a lot of plans. So that's what's on my desk. Other than that, one last thing to show, and I'm going to have to go super widescreen for this, because I'm going to have to, because this is also on my desk now. So this is built, filled, Zenithal primed. So as you can see, it's a coat of black through to a coat of white. So this chunky monster is ready for the airbrush now, and I've promised Rachel, by hook or by crook, in 20-minute sitting sessions maybe, I'm going to try and get that painted for her by the end of the weekend. So it's over to Sam for finishing off. But what a beastie, what a beastie. I mean, let's look at that. Let's look at that. It could eat one of Elster Nation's GC Cult without even trying. There you go. He has varnished the models, by the way, so I know I'm safe doing that. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Get my airbrushes off the screen. There you go. Back to the chat. Let's see what's going off. Oh, right. Whole bunch of stuff, no doubt. Where did we get to? Oh, my goodness. Right. There was definitely LOL, not you, Games Workshop on Facebook. So here we go, Reaper 28. You could do that after 5 turns. At the end of each turn, you roll a dice for each unit, and on a 6, they are evacuated. Oh, I like that. So as you get down to the last units, they're really like up against it and just completely getting swarmed in, and then you'd have to choose which unit you're going to evacuate. Do you leave the ones that can keep the line, or do you evacuate your key units and just sacrifice what's left? I like that. That's good. Phil, you could be Emperor on forum. Thank you very much. I think Sam has set all of that up, so I think I don't know whether you can be the Emperor. You can certainly be a senior ranking dude, Primarch maybe. Right, Sam, are you PS4? No, he is PC and Xbox One, I believe, and I don't know what he's playing Call of Duty on. Either his PC or Xbox One. I don't know. Yes. All I know is when I was on the chat with him last night, it was like, ka-chow, 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 ka-chow. Oh, there you go. He's actually saying he's here and he's editing. He's got no time to kill Nazis. Oh, Sam, you just take time to kill Nazis. You'll be fine. There we are. A few people saying hello to Sam anyway. And where were we now? Do Xbox One, I'm afraid, bud. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I think they're really good Blu-ray players. Okay, Akari is reminding everybody to support Wargamer Online by becoming a premium. Not only do you get to support us if you become a premium, of course, we are doing our November giveaway, which draws on the 29th of this month. So bear in mind that every premium member is automatically entered into a draw for a £100 prize. That's a £50 starter box and £50 choice of your models. So from Games Workshop. Pop along. It's only $2.99. It's $2.99 for a chance to win £100. That's definitely better odds than the lottery. Okay. Oh wait a minute. It's not just $2.99 for a chance to win £100. It's $2.99 for a chance to look at Sam's amazing tutorials, bat reps, unboxings, and all sorts of fun. Although we don't do unboxings as premium content. Right. See, Mawson would be interested in helping out on the forum. This is going to be brilliant. I'm so pleased we've got volunteers. How do you volunteer? Just by simply saying that on the chat. We'll go back through. What we will do, I think, when the forum officially is ready, is we will put a post up on the Facebook group as well and just say, okay, for everybody who's offered, just confirm you are willing, and then we can look at that. Phil, did I miss Jack's Morty review? I'm confused. Jack's Morty review. Not sure what that is. Sorry. But yes, maybe. He certainly had his school review today. Maybe you're talking about not today, but yesterday. So I don't know. Maybe not. Oh wait, he did a. We've done. Oh, his Mortarian review. No, he's been a lazy boy. Well, he hasn't been a lazy boy. He's been really busy. He's filmed it. He's not edited it. And he's now got something else to edit as well. So he has promised me some time this weekend to get through edits. So we're both on an edit catch-up at the moment. Right, okay. Bunch of people calling each other heretics, etc. Gabriel Priest is in there. People raising stormbolters at each other. I'm sure it will be fine, though, in the long run. Robbie Cohen says, nice paint job. Love the paint combo. Well, thank you very much. And thank Ulster Nation very much, because he's done great work. Wargamer Online. I killed 1,337 people, though, so that's fun. I'm assuming you mean on Call of Duty, Sam, otherwise I'm concerned. Okay. Ulster Nation, blush mode 9,000. Oh, dude, don't blush. You deserve the adulation. I'm giving you it. You've done an amazing job. And by the way, there are a couple of people that have also posted on the chat saying, of course, they have also volunteered their painting services, which is much appreciated as well. I'm hoping to get painting my own models as well. I'm going to have a little bit of a push. As you know, I'm in a little bit of pain right now, so please, I will. All of those people who have offered, I've got a list to one side, and should I get to the stage where I feel I'm not going to achieve it, then I'll contact you. So thank you very much for your offers. Stalker 40k is asking whether else the nation does commissions. It's for him to answer. He does, but he has limited time, I think. So he, it's for him to answer whether he's capable. Something right, Ulster Nation. I'll get it over to you tomorrow morning. Not quite sure what he's talking about there. I do know I didn't bless him. I didn't get all of my models, did I, Ulster Nation? That's not your fault. That's my fault for sending you so many models. But he found them anyway. He found them. So within about 10 minutes of him getting over, he was like, yeah, I found 2 more, dude. And it was just like, oh no. Yeah. Which, by the way, you need to let me know your PayPal so I can pay for postage on those. Okay, Reaper asking, could all of you guys donate spare bits to applaud Bloodraven for only 5 bits a day? You can save his lobbying and earn eternal gratitude. Let us know what parts you want. I've got a massive box full of parts, whether they're Bloodraven compatible or not. There's certainly a whole bunch of stuff in there from Dark Angels. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there from Space Wolves. So if you need something, drop us a list, and I'll have a dig through the old box and get them sent out. Certainly supplied bits and bobs to people on the chat before. So let's do that. Whoa. Things jumping around a little bit again. Oh, nice. You have a Facebook page. Yes, he does. Can spam. Filmo or Sammo if it's a salt can. Oh, bless. Good name. Oscar the Grouch. That's nice. Call him Pop Goes Weasel. Fun fact, Dr. T from the Muppets is just Noddy Holder from Slade. Really? I can see that though. Right, hold on a second. Right, Bernard Miller. Reaper be nice as the bullet ricochets and goes back towards the Reaper. Oh, dear me. They're all still verbally shooting each other on the chat at the moment. Steve Forrest, no room for loading shells though. Well, I get what you're saying, but you've not seen the finished piece yet, have you? So maybe it's a rear loaded turret for all you know. You don't know yet. You've not seen it. I've not finished the turret. Okay, right. Here we go. Scott Beale saying beautiful, love the conversion. It does need finishing off though, but hopefully it'll get there. But thank you very much. That's praise indeed coming from you. Depimus Maximus, obviously a drilling machine like that has a driver with 5 kids to feed who eventually gets killed. Okay. Oh, right. Well, how are we doing for time? I think, I don't know whether you can tell from me rocking backwards and forwards. I'm pretty much at my limit, guys. So my back is telling me now it's time to stop. And if I don't stop soon, then my wife will definitely be telling me now it's time to stop. So just a quick catch up on the chat. A lot of people saying goodbye. Richard Hudson's off, so goodbye. And he's on holiday tomorrow, which is great. There's people shouting it's Christmas at each other in a nolly holder voice. And Scott Beale says, I'm very fortunate, man. My birthday is at the end of the week, and my son had me text him a list. And he said he would get me new toys. Well, that's great news. Okay, listen, I am going to, for the turret, stick on the Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator. That's a nice idea, Ricario. Right, I'm going to call it a night, folks. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I hope you liked the chat earlier where I talked about the Tyranids. Did talk about them a bit. Didn't really go into as much. I didn't think I'd achieve much in a short 1 hour show, but I do need to rest everybody. So thank you to everybody who's joined us on the chat. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed on YouTube. We've seen a flurry of YouTube activity, which is absolutely brilliant. Keep spreading the word, people. You can support us in so many different ways. Share, like, spread the word, tell all your mates about us. Tell people about us on forums and stuff like that. So please spread the word, because all of that helps. Thank you very much to all our premium subscribers, and we've had a bunch of new premium subscribers, which is all exciting. So thank you very much for all those people that are joining us on there. All of that helps to get the channel driving forward. And also thank you very much tonight to Al for his huge donation. Thank you very much, mate. And thank you everybody who's donated recently as well. The list is up there, at least the list of the last 5. And you know, Vicious Fishes, Militades, and Alt Boys, Vicious Fish Skin, and Alice. Just thank you all very much, and everybody who's contributed. It's great. It gets me out of bed. It keeps me going, and I didn't want to miss a Monday Musing. I must be enjoying these things, because even though I was writhing around saying I'm in a whole bunch of pain, I would have really missed doing Monday Musing. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the chat again sometime soon. So have a good night all, and see you soon then. Bye. I missed the button.